One of the greatest actors of all time is harboring a deep, dark secret. Ooh. This is Jack. Jack will go down in history as one of the greatest American actors of all time and the most nominated male actor in Oscar history. But Jack was harboring a deep secret. A secret so secret that, well, he didn't even know about this secret. Jack was born in 1937 in Neptune City, New Jersey. He was raised by his parents, Ethel and John Nicholson, and lived with two sisters, June and Lorraine. Jack was a regular clown, literally. He was voted class clown in 1954 and received attention every day. This man took nothing seriously, which is why he made such an amazing Joker in Batman. Yep, I said he's amazing. Michael Keaton is the best Batman. You would have thought that Jack would want to be in showbiz just like his older sister June. She moved to California in efforts to become a showgirl. When Jack moved out to California, he worked behind the scenes. Initially, he wasn't interested in acting, but he eventually began working with acting troupes to hone his skills. While he was trying to discover himself, he lived with his older sister June, who, by this time, gave up wanting to live a life in the spotlight. His debut movie was called The Baby Killer. Oops, I'm sorry, The Cry Baby Killer. Makes a huge difference. After this film, he made tons of what we call today low-budget horror films. For instance, he was in the original Little Shop of Horrors, not the one with Tisha Campbell, but the one in 1960. I didn't even know they had an original Little Shop of Horrors. History guys, read about it. Jack would continue taking on small parts until his big break in the forever classic movie Easy Rider. If you haven't seen it, it's about two guys who sold cocaine, got the money from the cocaine sale, and then rode towards New Orleans with the money. Along the way, they get into a lot of shenanigans, ending in somebody's motorcycle getting blown up. You've got to watch the movie. Anywho, this movie would introduce Jack into mainstream America, and they couldn't get enough of him. His beautiful smile, those crazy eyebrows. Jack was the it guy. Everybody wanted a piece of Jack. I mean, everybody for real got a piece of Jack. This guy was a playboy to the max. He would ultimately have 6 children by 5 different women. Jack was laying that wood. It's 1974. And Jack is starring in Chinatown with Faye Dunaway. You know, no wire hangers ever. Chinatown is an interesting movie because it has an underlying theme of incest. Again, you guys have got to watch these movies. At this time, Time magazine wanted to do a profile on Jack. I mean, this guy is amazing. And also, it would help market the movie. So Jack is like, absolutely. That's my Jack impersonation. I don't know if that's how he sounds or if it's on point, but I would say I like it. So at this point, the reporter for Time magazine is trying to do his due diligence. He's researching, he's reading, he's doing interviews, and he's like, wait a minute. Something is not clean in the milk. What Jack is saying is not jiving. And when I tell you that these reporters are so thorough, the ones that worked for the Time, they were good. I mean, good. And they didn't even have social media back then. So that should tell you how cold-blooded these reporters were. They reached out to Jack and they dropped a bombshell on him. Hey, I'm sorry, I know you're into the story, but real quick, if you like these stories, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that every time I release something, you know when I'm releasing it. Okay, thank you, bye. His parents, Ethel and John, were not his parents. They were his grandparents. His sister June was actually his mother, and his sister Lorraine was his aunt. Dun, dun, dun. You see, June was 17 years old when she was pregnant with Jack, and at the time, she didn't really know who the father was. June was out here in these streets. And this was back in the 1930s, so having a child out of wedlock was right on the same level as worshiping Satan. Jack's grandmother would take him and raise him as her own, and his sister mother would eventually move to California to pursue her dream of going into showbiz. She was a showgirl who was waiting for her big break and eventually married someone else down the line. who was not Jack's dad, presumably because she didn't know who Jack's dad was. So now, by this time, Jack's mother and grandmother had died, so they couldn't really validate the story. But all he had left was his Aunt Lorraine. Hey, Auntie. Her husband at first tried to swerve his allegations, but eventually he broke down and told the truth. At this time, Jack is 37 years old. They kept his secret hidden well. And just imagine, this dude would have never known had it not been for Time magazine. Thanks, Time, for ruining family. You guys are the greatest. But actually, Time didn't ruin it. They did not release the story on behalf of Jack's request, because he wanted to try to sort all the details out. I mean, this was a bombshell for him. It later came out, however, because of bitch-ass Parade magazine. Fuck you, Parade magazine. So I know what you're thinking. How did Jack feel about this? Jack was shocked. I mean, wow, right? But it wasn't traumatizing for him. By this time, he was his own man. His psyche was pretty much well put together. It didn't shatter his thought process, and he actually had a really good childhood. Jack was actually surprised that anybody in his family could keep this secret well hidden for so long. I mean, kudos, you got people who can't hold things for like 3 seconds. He also said this realization made some things clearer to him. He didn't say what those things were, but if I could guess, maybe his sister mother was a bit more overbearing, and in his mind he's thinking, bitch, you're not my mom, you're my sister. These days, Jack is not in the spotlight like he used to be because he's about 86 years old. And he just wants to be able to live his life the way that he wants to live his life. Not all secrets are bad, but many of them aren't good. And I'm glad that this secret was not an overly traumatizing secret to him, because we would have missed out on such an amazing actor. Have a great day, everyone. Except for you, Parade magazine.